Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for having us here at the conference, and thank you for coming to our presentation. My name is Stacy Mason. I am a licensed clinical social worker, and I am also a certified spelling to communicate practitioner. We come here today to blow your minds because we really want to challenge the assumptions that most people have about non-speaking people with autism. So I am curious, how many of you in your lives know an autistic person who is non-speaking? It looks like 100%. And that may be what brings you here, but it may be that non-speaking autism is just so common now that pretty much everybody is touched by it, whether it be a family member or a friend or a neighbor or a student or client. You know, pretty much everybody knows somebody who has non-speaking autism. Would anyone like to share who it is in their lives that is non-speaking? Go ahead.
I think I'm the only one that raised their hand.
No, I don't think so. You were just faster than anybody else.
My name is Queen. It's my son, Shaquan. I run a nonprofit in his name. And it's funny because I just spoke to another gentleman from an organization called Hand to Mouth.
Mouth to hand.
Mouth to hand.
Yeah.
And he called, I think it was, I forgot his name, but anyway. We spoke briefly yesterday, gave some information, and I am looking into that for my son.
Okay, wonderful. Well, that's why we're here, to spread the word about spelling to communicate. Anybody else would like to share who it is in their lives?
Sure, my name is Greg DeShields, and I'm one of the presenters, and it's my nephew, Chris.
Okay.
He has two children who have autism.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone else? I actually have two sons with autism myself. Trevor and Tyler are my two sons, and the rest of the spellers are my adopted children, but not my biological children. So what we want to talk to you today about is spelling to communicate. So what is that? Well, when you have an autistic person who's non-speaking, minimally speaking, or unreliably speaking, we believe that those folks are completely cognitively intact, and that the only thing that keeps them from communicating openly is their inability to speak with their mouths. So this is something that we were not told, and of course we were told the opposite basically, and our children were tested using psychological tests that required verbal answers, or answers that required fine motor skills. And of course, speech is really the finest of the fine motor skills, but along with that is, your ability to write, your ability to type, and your ability to do sign language. And even shaking your head yes or no is actually a fine motor skill that many of our spellers do not have. But when they are taught how to spell by using a method that they can do over a period of time with training, and really gives them very robust communication. And what I mean by that is not pictures, like here's your choices, hamburger, hot dog, or French fries. Pick one. When they're given an option of 26 letters in which to communicate with, they can communicate everything that's on their mind, and they can show you that they're just as smart as anybody else. So just to share a little bit of my personal story and my son's personal story. Trevor was 23, Tyler was 21. When we found a spelling to communicate practitioner, a friend of mine sent me a video of a speller and his dad being interviewed, Jamie and JB Hanley. And what it showed me, because I had heard of spelling to communicate before, or some other predecessors to spelling to communicate, just so you know, RPM, rapid prompt method, and facilitated communication. I had heard of them before. I did not think my sons were good candidates. Why? Because I didn't think Trevor knew how to read or spell. But boy, was I in for a surprise when we started going to Spelling to Communicate sessions with a practitioner who we learned through the International Association for Spelling as Communication, I-ASC, that we had a spelling practitioner that really lived very close to us in Mount Kisco. And we went to her, and immediately I knew that something very different than I had ever seen was happening. My sons were very attentive, they were very focused. They kept looking at her and trying to do what she asked them to do on the letterboard. And you know, they were, as I said, they were 23 and 21 then, and we never had any way to communicate. They had received speech therapy all their lives. I was a very big advocate for them in every way. We had tried this kind of therapy, that kind of therapy. We had a prompt speech therapist. We drove here, we drove there, we tried supplements, we tried everything under the sun that you can imagine. And they were offered a Dynavox, which is a communication device, a talker, and nothing ever worked. No matter how hard we tried, they wanted to take that talker and throw it right out the window. They had no interest in it whatsoever. So people, their school team would constantly reinforce to me that you may think they're very smart, but clearly they have a very low IQ and they're not very capable, and their ability to to say words with their mouth equates to their cognitive ability. I could never shake off the feeling that that was not true, because things would happen all the time in our house that I would swear was the work of like a master escape artist, or you know, they would find things that I had hidden. They always knew where our car was parked, even though I couldn't remember where I parked it in the parking lot. There were just so many things that they would do that convinced me over and over and over. And just by the way they looked at me and just by the expression on their faces, I just knew in my heart that there was so much more. So I was just on a quest to prove it forever. I was going to go on forever trying and never giving up. Fortunately, a miracle happened. A miracle. I mean, there really isn't a word in the English language to explain what happened to us after 3 months, which is very short. And for some people, it takes a lot longer. But after 3 months of my sons going to see a Spelling to Communicate practitioner, they broke through and they started expressing everything that was on their minds that had happened to them in the past 21 years. And I was saying jokingly to our group earlier that, you know, that poster you can get that says, like, write your complaint in here, like this little square. Well, that's what I wanted, because there were a lot of complaints, and I would have a lot of complaints too after 21 years of not being able to communicate. I would have a lot to say, and they did. They complained about school and about the things they didn't get to do and their goals and what they wanted out of life, what political party they wanted to be a part of, being registered to vote, what their opinions were about the political candidates in government, their concerns about global warming, their demands that we buy an electric car rather than a gas-powered car. It goes on and on and on, and every single person pretty much has the same story. Some people it takes longer than others to actually break through, and of course my sons were already adults, so they were like so on the verge of wanting, you know, having a lot to say, and so it took 3 months. So since then, I'm gonna let them share a little bit of what their lives are like now, but in terms of my personal story, I went to to become a practitioner myself. So I am now a certified Spelling to Communicate practitioner with my own private practice, as well as being a psychotherapist in my home in Carmel, just about half an hour from here. But there are many Spelling to Communicate practitioners, and more and more every day, people are taking the training. It is a very intensive 7 months training, and it's mostly virtual, and there's a lot of practice required and a lot of videotaping of sessions and working with students and learning to do everything and the whole background of spelling to communicate and why it works. But that is my story, and I really don't want to take too much longer to really get to the stars of this show, the people who will really convince you and show you what spelling to communicate really looks like. So I think I'd like them, all of the students, all of the spellers, to introduce themselves, and then we will take questions for me or for them. Whatever you have, they love answering questions, they love advocating, and they love seeing people's reactions when they see, you know, how smart they are. So I think we'll just move on. Andrea, do you want to start with Abby?
Just to clarify,
I'm sorry.
she just said her name's Abby.
Oh, okay. You know what? I did skip over one thing that I'd like to share before we move on. So when we start with a new speller, these are the spelling boards that we start with. So these are split up into 3 sections. This one's A through E, then J through R, and then this one S through Z. So what we do is we hold up this board, and we usually use a pencil. I just don't happen to have one on me. But if I'm saying, let's spell sun, so it would be S, right, and then U, and then N. Okay? So part of this approach is that's more of a gross motor skill than a fine motor skill. So when we're poking kind of right from the shoulder, like this. And these are very big letters, and it's not hard for someone who doesn't have very good fine motor skills to be able to get there. As the speller gets more accurate with poking these letters, we then can move to a 26-letter board. Once you get to 26 letters, you can say whatever you want. And then after that, we often use these letter boards. This is a sensory board. This gives you a little bit more to hold on to. Once you have your pointer finger really working, you can use this to point to letters, and it's a little bit something to grab onto, whereas the most advanced board is this one, where there's nothing to hold on to. So you really have to be a very accurate poker in order to be able to identify, accurately the letter that you're trying to go for. And there's also number boards. This one has numbers on the back. This one has numbers on the back. There's an advanced math board. And here is a clear letter board, which I like to use during presentations so you can actually see from the other side. Okay, so I'm going to then move on to Trevor. And okay, Trev, can you introduce yourself? Let me use this one first. Y-E-S. Okay, you're all good. T-O-T-A-L-L. Totally. M. My. Go ahead. N and A and M. My name is T-R-E. V. My name is Trevor. And I am, we're going to have to move to this one. I am 27. Let's go back here. Y-E-A-R, years, O-L, old. A-N, and I-L-I-V, I live in C-A-R-M-E, Carmel, and New York, W-I-T with M, my, F-A-M-I-L-Y. Great. Can you tell them what you do with your free time right now? Y-E-S-I-G, I go. I go to, oh good, darling. I go to yes, I go to WESTCHESTE, Westchester, COMMUNIT, Community, COLLEGE. I go to Westchester Community College. This is actually Abby's. Let's give it back to Abby. Okay. Can you introduce yourself, hon? YES, my, N, A, M. My name is TJ. My name is TJ, GOIN, going to SA, say, THA, that I am, okay, I am 27, YEAR, years, OLD, and ILIV, I live in MAHOPAC, Mayapack, N, Mayapack, yep, you got it, and New York. So I am TJ, I'm 27 years old, and I live in Mayapack, New York. Hi, Tyler. Okay. Yes, I am T, move back a little bit, TYL. I am Tyler. I am 25. YEA, years, all the way, years old. AND ILIVE, I live in CARME, Carmel, New York, 2 and IAL. I also go to WESTCHESTE, Westchester, COMM, Community, COLLEGE, College. Awesome. Okay. Hi, sweetheart. How you doing? What? Why? Maybe sit up better, honey? That's it. Okay. Go ahead. YE, all the way. Wait a minute. YE, okay. Yes, I am. Look. I am. There you go. T and E and R and E and N and C. I am Terrence, A-N. Oh, good. Yeah. And I am. Go get it. Get that letter. I am. Good. 26. 26. Y-E, all the way. A-R. Years. O-L. All the way up. Old. A. and, all the way, and, I, L and I, and V. I live, I live in, S, T, A, M, F, all the way, O, R, Stamford, C and, O and, N and, N and, E and, next door, C and, T and, I and, C and, U and, T. Never an easy state to spell. Great job, guys. Okay. Abby, do you want to say anything else? I know you just said your name, so.
I'm 14 and I live in Albany.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Abby. So I'd like to open it up for questions now. Does anybody have any questions for me or for our spellers?
There's a few.
Sure, sure.
My son's fine motor skills, besides, pointing is an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Do they all go through the same exact type of an evaluation intake? If the pointing is something that they can do, do they still start from the 3-board or do they go straight to?
Yeah, I would start with the 3 boards and have him use a pencil. So he just has to grip that pencil with just a very
Right,
gross grasp.
That's within.
Yeah.
It take time for them to get some individuals that may have a little bit more poor fine motor.
Uh-huh.
How long? But it depends. I can't make.
Yeah, I think they all have poor fine motor skills. That's a given. And there's no intake in which anybody would be rejected from trying spelling, other than someone under the age of 5 is not recommended to start before the age of 5, but 5 to any age, and any Y5. I just think that attention, focus, being able to sit for some period of time, having some knowledge of the letters. And while we can think that sometimes our kids don't have any knowledge of letters, at this age, they really have been exposed to letters so much that they absolutely have picked up their letters, even if they have no way of proving it.
So you're not teaching them the alphabet, you're just teaching them to point to the letter.
That's exactly right. I'm teaching them the motor skills that they need to get to the letters on a letter board. I am not teaching them their letters, how to spell or how to read. They already know how to do that. Many of them say they've been reading since they were 3 years old, just based on being exposed to letters, closed captioning on TV, signs out in the community. I could have sworn that Trevor did not know his letters. Trevor knew so much. Trevor knew how to spell everything. Trevor knows how to spell things that I do not know how to spell.
I got other questions, but I'll wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
So in daily communication, how does that look in your family particularly? Like, do they carry the board around with them? Or how
Yeah, we do. We have a board in every room, in every car, and when we go for a walk, we take it with us. When we go everywhere, we take the board with us because that's their voice.
Right.
Yeah, and just to, I know that we're talking a lot about employment here at this conference, so I do want to ask Tyler to share something about employment, because I don't want to leave that out. That's not necessarily always part of my talk, but it is part of why you all are here, so there it is. Y-E-S. I am, G-O-I-N. I'm going to say That I-H-A-V. That I have all the way over, J. I have a job, W-O-R-K, working for the Spellers and Allies, D-N-B-N, N-N, working for the Spellers and Allies Advocacy Network. As a non-speaking coordinator for the international Association for spelling as C-O-M-M-U-N-I-C-A-T-I, for the International Association of Spelling for Communication. That was a long sentence. Yeah, Tyler actually has a part-time job working for the Spellers and Allies Advocacy Network. So just in terms of employment, I really challenge you to think of non-speakers and spellers, thank you, as potential employees. What they can do is really beyond your imagination. They are
songwriters.
They are songwriters, they are poets, they are short story writers, they write essays. I would say, I'm going to say all of them are published writers. Yes, Sid?
I'd like to just make a comment.
Sure. Yes, please.
I'm Abby's dad, and we had a huge week in some advocacy, and
Thank you.
I'm processing that, and she told me she wants to run for office.
Yeah. And thank you for, okay, Ty. Thank you for bringing that up, Sid. And that leads me to the fact that Abby, Trevor, and Tyler all went to Albany. Was it 2 weeks ago now, I think? 2 weeks ago, because there is a communication rights bill that is the New York State legislature. We went to advocate for the bill to be passed. Abby, Trevor, and Tyler spelled for senators and assemblymen. And the result was that the bill passed in the New York State Assembly because of their advocacy. Because unanimously, yes. Okay. All right, Tyler is a long clapper. So it was very impressive because, you know, you get nervous when you're around people that are very powerful, that really hold your future in their hands, literally. And they were so courageous to sit with these very important people. I mean, we were actually introduced in the New York State Assembly. We were brought into the assembly chamber and introduced. It was quite an experience for all of us. But they spoke very eloquently about how much this bill means to them. And just very briefly, letter boards are actually not accepted in schools right now. They are actually rejected in schools. And it is extremely stressful, frustrating. Go ahead and have some water, honey, yeah. For the spellers who learn to spell in therapy or in sessions outside of school, and then they go to school and they can't communicate. And the schools say, we don't believe in letter boards, we don't believe that it's, we think it's experimental, and it's just so incredibly frustrating. So this bill would change that. It would make it law that any communication method that you use would have to be accepted in any setting. Right now, the Americans with Disabilities Act actually does provide for that, but New York State and other states ignore it. And they say, we don't believe in spelling, so therefore, if you spell on a letterboard to communicate, we will not allow you to bring that into school. Yes?
She has a device that when she spells, will test out each letter, it says it. They wouldn't allow hers either? It's a little bit...
It's a device?
Right, it's a device.
With a keyboard on it?
Right.
They would allow that. Can she type on that keyboard, though? Basically, yeah.
And none of them type in the keyboard.
Did you say none of them, or?
Not all of them.
Not all of them. Basically, our protocol is to start on the stencils and then move through the boards. And then if the speller, once they get here, wants to learn how to type, we teach typing too. They can type on a keyboard. So Trevor and Tyler have a Bluetooth keyboard that's connected to an iPad with the app Proloquo to go. It's Proloquo for text. And so it's a text-to-speak program. So they can type in, and then it will speak for them. And they do use that. And Abby is using that here.
So she learned how to type. She got to that point.
Yeah. And she types on the touch screen, which was not what she did from the minute she first started spelling. She started spelling on the stencils. A year and a half later.
Still touching each letter, right?
She is.
It's just a regular keyboard, it's just a regular
Right.
Right.
keyboard that she's using.
I'm kind of thinking it's not really that, I understand it's a keyboard, but she's not doing this, she's hitting
One letter at a time. Right. But she didn't start there. That's really, yeah.
I was wondering if they would be in that.
No, they wouldn't.
They wouldn't. Okay.
Right. So, well, it's a long story that Andrea, it's been a battle for them to even get there. And the problem is that you can't always put Abby with somebody she doesn't know who says go and spell, because she just doesn't have a relationship with them. But so the point is that many of them will learn how to type, and many of them are working on independent typing eventually, where they don't even need us nearby at all, but none of them start that way. And the schools are saying this is okay, but this is not okay. But who starts at the final, like who can jump on a bike and start riding it without training wheels, right? Who can pick up a pencil and write an essay before they start coloring with crayons? Nobody. So the point is that you have to start out slow, easy, with a big target, because these are kids who do not have good fine motor skills, but they can learn them. They can improve on their fine motor skills, yes.
Can you briefly speak to the challenge of getting ASHA, or the Speech Pathology Association?
Mm-hmm.
I have a little
Yeah.
background.
Yes.
And how to get this integrated into speech pathology so that there isn't such a battle to get
And in the
folks
schools.
outside to be spelling certified and then have to push in independently when there's clearly services that are always being given that are justified based on diagnosis, right? And so, as an advocate, you now have to give them the service that is required for them.
Thank you.
Is this bill, part of getting that reevaluated based on, old studies that are no longer relevant?
Yeah, so part of Part of the reason that the bill didn't make it to the Senate yet, and it will, probably in January or in the winter of 2026, is because ASHA, which is the American Speech and Hearing Association, is pushing back against it. And in turn, so is OPWDD, Office for People with Developmental Disabilities. They have really been our stumbling block, and ASHA has had this position statement out, and this position that spelling to communicate is experimental and it's not evidence-based for a long, long time. And they have a lot of influence. And the speech therapists who are members are afraid to go against what ASHA says. So it is an obstacle for us. But we believe that right will win, truth will prevail, and that these spellers are so convincing when somebody actually sees them spell, that eventually we'll be able to overcome. But ASHA is on the school team for every non-speaker in schools, right? And they influence the team very highly. So whenever a student comes in and says, the parent's like, we're using a letterboard now, that speech therapist will influence that team and say, no, we don't do that. I mean, they really get so scared, like they don't want to touch the letterboard like with a 10-foot pole. It's really like, we can't have anything to do with that. So we're working on it, and there's a lot of people who have more influence than I do personally, who are working on different avenues to try to get to ASHA. Go ahead, Sid.
I just want to make a comment about that. So what Stacy was saying is this continuum where you start on the board and you graduate to the keyboard. I probably shouldn't use that word, but that was Abby's path. So once you get to that, she actually can correct herself. That doesn't lie, if you will. So that's the convincing part, and that's where I think she was such a powerful person involved in. But she'll actually backspace where she spells because they all misspoke, and it's just part of just doing it so quickly. But so anyway, I just wanted to mention that path, and from here to not ever touching the letterboard to getting a keyboard, it's all the same. She went down the same.
Yeah. But the schools will want to just throw a keyboard in front of a child and say, go ahead and spell. And then if they can't, then it's like, see, we told you that they have an intellectual disability. And yeah, that is really very frustrating for us. I just wanted to go through the spellers again and just see if anybody would like to make any comments, because they are very well aware of all of the politics around this. And they may have something they want to add. Do you want to add anything, Trev? I appreciate I appreciate going going through THEOBSTACL, going through the obstacles, that ASHA is THROWI, throwing in our PATH. Okay, I appreciate going through the obstacles that ASHA is throwing in our path. You want to add anything, TJ? You need a sip of water? Okay. Go ahead. Ready, sweetheart? Well, go ahead, honey. YESIT. It is A P R O. P-R-O, yep, you got it. B-L-E. It is a problem. It is a problem. F-O, for us. T-O-T-A-L-L-Y. It is a problem for us, totally. Ty? T-O-T-A-L-L, totally. I-A-G-R. I agree. T-H-A. That. A-S-H. Asha is a B-I. Is a big. P-R-O-B-L. Is a big problem. F-O. For us. T-H-A-N. Thanks. Thanks for Y-O-U. Your S-U-P-P-O. Thanks for your support. We, A-P-P-R-E-C-I-A. We appreciate it. So we appreciate it so much. T-O-T-A-L-L-Y. Okay, and Terrence? Go ahead, sweetheart. Do you have anything to say about that? Y, Y-E-S-I-D. I do, H-A-V. I do all the way. I do have S-O-M-E-T-H-I-N. I do have something. I do have something to S-A. I do have something to say. Okay. Y-E-S-I-A-L. Next to her. I also A-P-P-R-E. Next to her. C-I and A and T. I do appreciate Y and O and U. Your S-U-P-P-O-R. I do appreciate your support. T-O-T-A-L-L-Y. I do appreciate your support, totally. Okay. Any other questions? I mean, you can ask a speller a direct question if you would like to also. Anybody? I want to say that I think we will win the fight. Well, I think that's an excellent place to end. Unless anybody has any more questions, I think we have like 1 more minute left. So, okay. Well, thank you all so much. It was great to meet you.